So let's start with that violent football play last night. Everybody's freaking out, right? Like, whoa, that is Kiko Alonso, man. That guy, yes, fine him. You got to suspend him. He's a bad guy. Look at that hit with Joe Flacco. Oh, man, that is just terrible. I can't believe you allow guys like that in the NFL. Isn't it interesting that it was 6'6" Joe Flacco? And it's 6'6" Cam Newton and 6'6" Ben Roethlisberger that are always complaining and getting hobbled by hits. It is never 5'11 and a half Johnny Manziel, 6 foot Russell Wilson, 6'1 and a half Aaron Rodgers, or 6'2 Dak Prescott. This is something I have been discussing weeks and weeks and weeks before that hit last night. When you slide poorly and you're a quarterback and you leave your territory, I'm not asking linebackers to slow down. Hey, surfers, you better be damn good because that's where the sharks live. Motorcycle guy in a freeway. Oh, it's legal, but it's built for cars. You ever heard of a child protective seat in the car? That's not designed for the driver or anybody in the back seat. It's specifically designed for the kid. Kid gets out of that, take a sharp turn, what happens to the kid? The pocket is designed for one player. All the rules in that pocket slant toward the quarterback. Leave that designed area. Jump out of that child protective seat and go in the back seat and play around with your sister. Take a sharp turn, bang, that's what happens. You go into a linebacker territory. What if Joe Flacco had faked the slide, held up and ran, and Kiko Alonso had slowed down, then doesn't make the tackle, Flacco scores? You're eating him for lunch today. By the way, Baltimore fan, don't be a hypocrite. If Ray Lewis did that, you would defend him to the hilt. Come on, it's football. You're not wearing a dress. I like my linebackers to be aggressive. Listen, if you go look at the history of the NFL, many of the greatest defensive players, Ronnie Lott, Ray Lewis, Lawrence Taylor, Dick Butkus, you go look at the all-time greats, they played unhinged. That's why they're great. John Lynch led with his head for 15 years. I'm not going to ask in their territory, slow down for the quarterback. And by the way, this is what I say about Flacco and Cam and Big Ben. These tall 6'6" clunky guys are lousy sliders. It's unnatural, and therefore they slide a second late, and they leave their torso, which is enormous, up. So I'm sorry. At the end, it's violent, but this is football. It's real speed. It's real fast. Harbaugh's upset. Maybe if you had a running game that was dependable week in and week out, you wouldn't have to do that. Dak slides, Russell Wilson slides, Aaron Rodgers slides, don't get hit. These 6'6" guys are not built for those shark-infested waters. They're clunky, they slide late, they've got big torsos, and they get popped. Here's Kiko Alonso after the game discussing the hit.
It was bang, bang. You know, he got to a point where I thought maybe if he slid a second sooner, I was anticipating him to slide and I was going to not hit him. But I think it was like, second late. That's the target. You know, when a guy slides, his target is very small.
And let me ask you this. Are you an athlete? I want you to run as hard as you can right now, today at some point. Run as hard as you can for 15 yards and then lean forward. And then in an instant, stop all the momentum and avoid the target. When Kiko Alonso is leaning in, well, he's got to expect, he's got to assume, he doesn't have to do any of that. He's got to hit people. That's what he's paid to do. And by the way, defensive guys on Twitter last night, all defending Kiko Alonso. So let me shift to this. So this is very interesting. The top 50 player sales report year to date came out. Who's selling the most jerseys? Here's the top 10. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Odell Beckham, Aaron Rodgers, Antonio Brown, Derek Carr, Marshawn Lynch, Carson Wentz. Now, there's a lot of diversity here. There's young guys, OBJ. There's old guys, Brady. There's controversial guys. Oh, yeah, Antonio Brown, though controversial. There's boring guys, Russell Wilson. There's overachievers. Derek Carr, Dak, Brady. There's first-rounders. Aaron Rodgers, OBJ, Wentz. There's big market people on there. Teams, Giants, Cowboys represented. There's small markets represented there. Green Bay, Carolina. There's traditional powers, Pittsburgh Steelers. And then there's non-traditional powers in the last 15 years, Oakland Raiders. You have players from major college football powers on that list. Ezekiel Elliott, Ohio State. You have guys from schools I've never seen play. Carson Wentz went to North Dakota State. Antonio Brown, Central Michigan. You've got white players and black players, big guys and small guys. Here's what you don't have on that list. One defensive player. No shoe deals, no big endorsements. But you know whose name I've mentioned 8 times today? Kiko Alonso. You call it a cheap shot. I call it badass. And you can get commercials, and you can show up on Ballers, and you'll get a series on Showtime, and you'll get talked about and sell shoes for being a badass. Because defensively, the rules are all against you. The league doesn't market you. The team doesn't put you on the poster. The rules increasingly are against you. Defensive players put in all the same work, get none of the endorsements. Hey, how do you make a name for yourself? That. This is why coordinators want to be head coaches. It's why beat writers want to be columnists in the newspaper industry. It's why defensive players want to make a name for themselves. If you put all the time, all the blood, all the sweat, all the tears into an industry and get half of the marketing, half of the money, half of the promotion, you realize pretty quickly, how do I make money? I'm elite too. You go badass. And that sells on Main Street and it sells on Wall Street. You get on Ballers. You don't get on Ballers tackling the right way. You can get on it with baggage. We talk more in Ndamukong Suh. Lawrence Taylor hit late. Clay Matthews. I mean, you look at a lot of these guys that defensively have made it. J.J. Watt is an absolute outlier. When you look at that top 10 list, that hit sells jerseys. Because late hits equals tough. You can call it cheap. But if you worked in an industry and put in all the time and got half of the support, half of the rules, half of the pay, half of the promotion, and half of the marketing, I totally get defensive players wanting to be noticed. And if that's what it takes occasionally, when you come, you bring your motorcycle on my freeway, you bring your surfboard in my waters, I'll pay the fine.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from the newest show on FS1, First Things First with Chris Carter and Nick Wright.